Schriftwort lesen.
Guys, please quickly and quiet.
The door closed. The people who just came in.
Can you close the door?
This house will not accept the Battered Person Syndrome as defense for murder. I'm going to talk to you about two things today. When do we let people literally get away with murder, and how and why we believe only the state can inflict punishment. Okay, so today the status quo that we wish to change is the courts, and by courts we mean the state, and by the state we mean every person in society, because this is a process that is prosecuted by the state, except BPS, and the state itself says that this is okay, that you can get away with murder on that. And this is, my first point is going to be, when should we let people get away with murder? What sort of defenses we would accept, and why this doesn't fall under such criteria. Okay, so the three criteria that we do accept as a defense for murder are if it was done by an accident, and then we call it other names, not murder. When it's self-defense, a person was defenseless and could not protect themselves from an immediate risk to their life or their well-being. And the third is when we're talking about temporary insanity. Now, or insanity in general. Now, this is clearly not a case of insanity, because we are talking about a completely different defense. We are talking about a rational decision. The reason that not now. The reason that we don't see it as insanity is that that person could have, when we said premeditated in the information slide, we are talking about a person who makes a choice. We are talking of a person who had other choices, and I will elaborate on that soon. Now, when we talk of self-defense, we are talking about a person who the state should have protected, but couldn't at a certain very specific moment. Now, if a person is physically threatened, his life is physically threatened by another person, and in order to save their life, they need to do something urgently, we accept murder in such an event to be an acceptable defense. But when a person is constantly battered by another person, and we are talking about a premeditated murder, that person could have had other choices. If a battered woman had the chance to buy poison, buy a gun, plan a hanging, or any other method of murder that that person had done premeditatedly, planned, had time to execute, then that exact person could have gone to the police, could have gone to family, could have gone to friends, could have resorted to a lot of other mechanisms that would save her. Yes?
I think you're seeing this from your perspective. According to her perspective, she couldn't have done all of those things, and that's what counts in this court.
Thank you. What should count in this court is that we will not allow a person to get away with murder when this murder was something that a rational decision could be made to do something different. Now, society should take all means to help battered person to turn to other alternatives. But letting them resort to murder is something that we strongly oppose, because it becomes revenge and because it becomes punishment. And that brings me to my second point. We will not let a person make a rational decision to take punishment or revenge steps toward a person that isn't an immediate risk, because we believe that only the state can inflict punishment. Why do we believe that only the state can inflict punishment? Because the state does not commit revenge. The state, before it punishes, it makes sure all the evidence are in place. It makes sure that the blame is placed correctly. It is cool, it comes not by the person who was hurt by another person, but by an objective judge. It takes into account all the circumstances that needs to be accountable. And more than everything, it would give a proportional punishment. And the proportional punishment is very important to us, because we believe that there's a scale of offenses. We don't think murder, taking a life, is as bad as rape. We don't believe that murder, taking life, is as bad as an abuse. Of course we are opposing abuse, we are opposing violence, but we don't see it as bad. And because it's not as bad, it shouldn't deserve the same punishment. We do not believe that we should give the death penalty to a person who battered another. It's not a good thing, but it's not as bad as murder. But even if we believed in the death penalty, even if we thought that abuse should be punished by death, we don't think that the person who should decide on another person's life is the person that's so likely to be influenced by the fact that he was hurt by the other person. We want a cool judge, someone that would come and see all the facts and have the same mechanism as any other person would be judged for that offense, and not in the point of view of the victim. Yes, quickly.
Madam, do you think that the child soldiers in Africa, for example, should be judged by an outside judge, or you can't judge the morality of someone under that sort of situation?
Thank you. I think you're talking about an international situation, and I'm talking about something internal in the state. And this is very important, and you shouldn't miss it, because my whole argument is that when the state punishes, when the state recognizes a punishment, it does so in your name. It does so in the names of each and every one of you. And we believe that neither one of us would want the death penalty to be inflicted on a person who hasn't done the worst possible thing. And even if you believe that that person should get the death penalty, he should only get that after a process that's the fairest and the most objective possible. Now, we want that as persons who can be prosecuted by the state, and we want that as a person who the state inflicts punishment with our name. Because when we allow the state to do something, and it does it in our name, then the state is an extension of us. It does the thing for us. And we can only endorse this